Hello, my name's Andy Biggs. I'm the Congressman from Arizona's 5th Congressional District. I am so delighted to have with me today a very special visitor, Mrs. K.C. James. And Kay has an extensive background in crafting public policy and leading nearly every sector of America's economy. She has worked at the local, state, and federal levels of government under the administrations of former U.S. President George H.W. Bush, former Virginia Governor George Allen, and former U.S. President George W. Bush. She got around and has also served dozens of organizations in the corporate and nonprofit arenas. She is just really one of the most accomplished people I've had an opportunity to talk with recently, and she's fabulous. Kay has a passion for serving the youth of America and substantial experience in the field of education. And today, Kay James is president of the Heritage Foundation, America's premier conservative think tank. The Heritage Foundation is dedicated to formulating and promoting conservative public policies based on the principles of free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. Kay has also been a Heritage Foundation trustee for 15 years. And Kay, I'm so happy you're here. We're going to talk about the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. And you wrote recently that she is an outstanding choice for the Supreme Court. She's an originalist who respects the Constitution and will issue rulings based on the law. She's both liked and admired by friends and colleagues across the political and ideological spectrum for her intelligence, warmth, compassion, and collegiality. These qualities will serve her well when she joins the Supreme Court. Judge Barrett will be an exceptional justice. Can you expand on that? Why is she going to be so uniquely wonderful and qualified for this job?
Well, before we jump in, Congressman, let me just say to the folks who are listening in under the sound of our voices that they are truly, truly blessed to have you as a representative, and the Heritage Foundation just enjoys standing shoulder to shoulder with you to fight back the attacks on our country right now. And we just need more of you. We need more people like you. I think the people who sent you to Washington need to know that, and they need to understand that. So I just wanted to start there and to say thank you from the Heritage Foundation for standing firm, standing in the gap, and standing for our true American values. Now let's talk about ACB.
Let's do.
I was at the White House on Saturday for the announcement, and going in, we had seen some of the protesters, and they were talking about notorious RGB, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And so inside, someone started the chant, but now we have glorious ACB. and indeed we do. Sometimes you can get jaded in Washington, and you have to have a thick skin, and you have to be kind of tough, and you can get a little bit, cold. Sitting in the Rose Garden on Saturday afternoon, listening to Amy, I positively got teary-eyed. There was a woman who represented everything that was significant and important to me as an American. Seeing her with her incredible family, just on a personal side first, seeing as to me at my age, she seemed incredibly young, incredibly accomplished, but at the same time, her humanity, to hear her talk about her family, to know that her faith compelled her to reach out to people in need, the fact that she adopted those wonderful kids from Haiti, and listening to her love for this country, her love for the Constitution, oh my word, was inspiring. And I think people need to know and understand that, because a very different picture is going to be painted over the next few weeks. And the politics of personal destruction is out of hand in our country. You can't any longer just disagree with someone. They feel as though you must destroy them. And I was sitting next to one of Amy's very dear friends who flew in from Notre Dame just for the ceremony. And she said, my heart breaks knowing what she's going to have to go through. And I said, let me tell you what someone told me once when I was going through a tough confirmation battle. And they said, Kay, this is going to be hell. It's going to be horrible. And then they're going to confirm you. and so I said, you know, she's got the family, the friends, the faith, the belief in this country that will sustain her through these difficult days. And then she will be confirmed. You may know that Justice Clarence Thomas is someone that I call a very dear friend, and I went through that confirmation battle with him. It was horrible. It was excruciating. It was painful. But the country needs to steel itself for that and know that it's coming. And know that the picture that will be painted of her over the next few weeks by the left will bear no resemblance to the person that I saw in the Rose Garden on Saturday. So why was I so excited about that? Oh my word. She started off by saying how much she loved the Constitution and that she recognizes that as a justice, she would bring to her job that admiration, love, and respect. She is not going to legislate from the bench. She is going to look at the law, analyze the law, and Lord knows we need that so much.
No, that's right. I was impressed that she used the buzzword that I think is so important. She said she's going to apply the law. She didn't say she's going to interpret the law. She didn't say she's going to do anything other than take the law that's before and apply it to the case before her. That means that she really is an originalist, as you said in your statement. So what does it mean for the country going forward when you have an originalist on the court, when you have somebody who says, we're going to apply the law, I'm not here, and she talked about it. She said, you know, I can't decide what I want it to be. I have to do what the law is and apply it, and sometimes you get uncomfortable results.
That's right. Let me share with you some of my favorite quotes from her. In an article she wrote, there is no justification for departing from the plain text of a constitutional statute. Love it. In a 2016 speech, she said, we should look at the court as an institution that interprets our laws and protects the rule of law, but doesn't try to impose policy preferences. That is so important to us. When you come to the bench with a set of ideas and philosophy, political ideas, and you try to use that to shape the law, that is absolutely not what our founders intended. You know, I have said in recent days that one of the things that makes me love this country and recognize what an exceptional nation that we are is a great deal of thought went into the founding of this nation and into the drafting of the founding documents and the construct that we were given. There are separation of powers. The court is not supposed to be a legislative body. They are only supposed to interpret what, based on the law, the context, what's there in the original language of the Constitution, whether or not the laws that you guys pass actually pass constitutional muster. That's what they're supposed to do. And it occurred to me, I said, why is it so hard for the left to get that, or that someone could actually have a set of personal views that would not come in and shape their views on law? And it occurred to me it's because given the opportunity, that's exactly what they would do. And so they assume that everyone else would do the same. And as a political appointee over the years, I know how difficult it is to be in a position where you have a set of personal views and values, but if the law does not say that, or if the person that you're serving wants to go in another direction, it's not your job to impose your will at that moment. And it's a very difficult position to be in, but those of us who serve and have served in government recognize that's what it is. And she has said that her guiding principles will be the Constitution. And I'm okay with that because our founders gave us a great document, and we are excited to have a strict constructionist, an originalist, a constitutionalist poised to go on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, sitting right now, we have a couple of Supreme Court justices who actually believe the international law is takes primacy over the U.S. Constitution, which is unthinkable. It's absolutely unthinkable. So as we get in this milieu, you talked about what's going to happen to Judge Coney Barrett. So how do we get a swift confirmation? Why is that important that we get a swift confirmation?
Well, we do have a limited amount of time here. We can't predict the future. We don't know for sure what the election will bring. But this president is operating absolutely within his constitutional right to name a judge. We elected him to do that. He's doing what we elected him to do. For many of us, we recognized from the very beginning that whoever the next president was going to be would probably have the opportunity to name one or two, and it turned out three, Supreme Court justices. And that will influence the direction of this country. I would say to people, this battle that we're engaged in right now for the Supreme Court, I hesitate to say it out loud, but maybe even more important than anything we've got on the horizon to work on. Whoever this justice is going to influence this country for generations to come. So to have the opportunity as the president within his constitutional right to do so, as a matter of fact, in my opinion, within his constitutional obligation to do so, we're going forward with this. And Leader McConnell has said she will get a hearing. We're asking our Democrat colleagues to give a fair hearing. And it concerns me that there are so many people out there right now who don't even want, on the Democrat side of the aisle, don't even want to meet with her, to hear from her. They have said they're going to use any means necessary, any means they have available to them to try to stop this. So I am telling people that if you love this country, want to fight for the future of this country, for your children and your grandchildren, this is a battle that you need to be engaged in. At the end of the day, it is the Senate that will make the choice, will make the selection, but every senator needs to hear from their constituents on this to make sure they know how important this is, and for the Republicans to hang together to give us a justice who this country deserves.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm just kind of in dismay because before she was even announced in the House Judiciary Committee meeting last week, one of my colleagues across the aisle, he said that basically President Trump had already nominated too many Catholics for federal.
Oh my word! What religious bigotry!
It absolutely.
Oh my word!
Despicable. So, and I looked at Amy Coney Barrett when she was nominated a couple of years ago for the federal bench, and I read her stuff at that time, and you just go, this person is excellent. What would you say? What would you say about her?
Well, let me just run through a few things for the benefit of your listeners. She graduated summa cum laude from Notre Dame, was first in her 1977 class. She received all kinds of prizes, executive editor of the Law Review. She clerked for two prominent federal judges and Justice Antonin Scalia. She served in private practice, worked at a top-rated law as a top-rated law professor. I mean, what more do you want? You cannot say that this woman is not qualified. And if she is qualified, and she, by any standard, she is qualified, then you must vote for her. You cannot withhold your vote because you don't like her faith, because you don't like the fact that she's adopted kids from Haiti. Really, people? Why are these issues even coming up? She is an eminent jurist. She is absolutely qualified, and she deserves her opportunity to get a fair hearing and to serve the country that she loves.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we've seen that she's got great credentials legally from the legal standpoint. She has got no character. You can't assail her character in any way. So we're seeing a reduction to religious bigotry, which not only is bigotry and despicable, it actually violates the Constitution. There's to be no religious test for any of these offices.
Oh, yes.
So that's important. I've heard the criticism of her having adopted two kids from Haiti, and I'm like, how can you even criticize that? And then when that's said and done, it's ad hominem attacks. I am sad to say, I mean, we've watched Judge Bork. We saw what happened to him. Clarence Thomas, I watched those hearings. It was unbelievable. Kavanaugh last time. Others have been just castigated in every way. And I'm embarrassed almost that we've reached this point as a country.
I want to spend a few minutes just talking about the adoption thing, because I just found it so despicable that someone would raise that as an issue as well. And I often share the story about staffing President Herbert Walker Bush when he went to a hospital in Washington, D.C. to visit what we used to call then border babies. And these were babies who were left in the hospital by their moms and were boarders there. And I saw President Bush go in and stood beside him when he just intuitively reached into the cradle and picked up this beautiful Black child and held him close. And I said, you know, that child had no idea that he was being held by the most powerful person on the planet. All that child knew is that in that moment, he was being held by someone who cared deeply and someone who was showing kindness and love. And kindness, love can cross ethnic, racial, and every other kind of barrier that there is. And so those two children from Haiti have the opportunity to be raised in a loving, warm, caring family, given opportunities that they probably could not have had there. And by all indications, by a family who recognizes and would not diminish their culture, recognize they would celebrate their diversity in their family. They are not trying to raise them as something they are not. And so all those folks who want to criticize the family for having adopted children from Haiti, they need to go find another issue, another cause. Amen. Because I have seen in my experience too many kids who were adopted across racial, cultural, ethnic lines, who went on to live fulfilling, exciting, wonderful lives. Love and compassion can counter a lot of other things. And so it endeared her to me, the fact that she and her family cared so deeply that they wanted to do something, wanted to be helpful, and are raising those children as their own. And anyone who raises that as an issue is in my estimation, just despicable.
Amen. Kay, I couldn't have said it better. Thanks so much. Well, Kay, we're out of time, but thanks for being such a great leader. Thanks for doing all you've done, a lifetime of service. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Congressman, for what you do every day for the people in your district, but for the country.
Thanks, and we'll have to get together soon. And
Let's do it.
well, Kay, thank you very much, and we'll talk again.